All right, we got a really cool guest on today, and I actually met Eddie through Instagram. I had no clue that he was in lending, which is a perfect fit for me. I'm a realtor. I actually just knew him as the power up guy, and he was just hammering home all of the same points that honestly get me excited, motivated every single day. We're on the same wavelength when it comes to our brains and everything that gets us going. And I just, like minds attract like minds, right? So that's kind of how we got to know each other through Instagram. I asked him, because of all of the great posts he puts on and his mindsets, do you want to come on my show? And then we started talking about what he does, and I found out he's a lender, and I thought, holy smokes, this couldn't be better. So Eddie Brown, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the business first. You're with lowrates.com, and
Yep.
you are, explain to me a little bit about what your position is. And
I'm the managing director of national production. So the name of the father company is SunWest Mortgage, and Low Rates is a division of that. It's just a DBA. So we're basically just an arm of SunWest Mortgage, and the channel that I'm representing today would be lowrates.com.
Okay, I got you. And okay, so in your position, what do you do? What's your job?
I'm over production. So I coach up I help recruit loan officers to our brand. I help coach them up once they're in our brand, and just over national production. So we pick markets. We have some local, like in your particular, like let's say if it's St. Louis, there would be someone, we would recruit someone to that market for your relationships, your partners. Or I have a direct to consumer online. So we kind of suit, we're pretty much there for whatever needs available. So I'll just go out there, and if we want to open up a market or grow a market, I recruit to it, and then I train to help them, have upgraded their performance by coming aboard using our technology and tools.
Yeah. So from a realtor standpoint, we always want to know what sets one lender apart from another. So what sets you guys apart from anyone else that I'd use?
Yeah, it's a great question. The biggest thing that we push right now is what we call the true approval. It's TRU. It's basically thoroughly reviewed and underwritten. So up front, we pride ourselves on the turn times and having, in this market more than ever, having a fully, income, credit, and asset approval. Yeah. Right. So it can act as a cash offer in this market. And once they find a property, all we have to do is appraisal, prelim, maybe an updated pay stub, and we're off to the races. So people talk about that, but truly having an underwritten, and even in this market, we're still at 24-hour turn times to get back with that offer letter so they can present that to the seller when they're out looking for properties. So there's a really strong offer or deal on the table.
It's true. And it's a great point, because you can get an approval letter from 13 different lenders, and one of them literally doesn't matter at all. It means nothing. And another one might mean we've done literally everything except wait the 30 days and make sure that he doesn't buy a boat. They've done a great job. And it's so challenging unless you have a relationship with that lender and you know what the processes they're going through to produce that letter. You don't always know what the quality of that letter is. So that's a phenomenal point that you made.
No, it's a good one.
Tell me right now, what does the home buying process in terms of a buyer interacting with a lender, what does that home buying process look like right now versus 30 to 60 days ago?
Well, you know what? What's going on in our market right now. We really haven't been impacted because of the way we're structured. We're well capitalized. There's a lot of misinformation out there, if I can say, the best way. I mean, a lot of lenders, depending on how they're structured, they may have overlays. They may have their credit boxes might have shrunk. We haven't had that. So
what's an overlay?
Some don't do forward locks right now, whatever it may be. The way most of our realtor partners leverage the two approval process is kind of like a lock and shop, right? Lock in your rate at the price that you're looking at as of that day, and you've got 90 days or whatever for that lock to go, or 60, whatever you choose, to go out there and look for a market and rest assured that you got a solid rate as well, not just kind of like the mystery. That's
no matter what happens with the market, my rate sticks.
Exactly. So, and so that's the big thing. I'm seeing what I'm noticing out there. A lot of people change their FICOs. There's a lot of misinformation because people are telling you what's going on with their company, which is fine. That's what they know. But I would strongly suggest to really understand your source and and do some research, or because we, like, for example, we have zero overlays. Not that we do a lot of this business and purchase markets, but we go down to still an FH, VA. We still go down to a 500 credit score. Don't do a lot of it, but we still have that option. A lot of people are not even going below 640.
Yeah.
So it's really that's a big important thing, because some people will mislead, tell the customer, because usually the realtor will find the customer before even the lender does in some cases. And if you give them the wrong information, you may lose an opportunity. So in this market, every opportunity counts. It means a lot. So that's the biggest thing, is having the right information and understanding who you're working with. Every lender is going through a different struggle right now because of how they're structured. We're completely debt free. It's 100%. So we service 100% of our loans. It's not leveraged. So it's created some opportunity where we're seeing a lot of change in the market. If there's been any, not knowing if you get impact that much in your market, but really it's high balance and jumbo loans.
Yeah.
Obviously non-QM, the non-qualifying loans have been where the market's gotten really tight. And we just don't know what's going to happen yet. It's really, we're just kind of watching what happens with jumbo and not high balance loan amounts, but everything underneath that, the normal conventional agency, we haven't, everything's been fine and normal.
What's a non-qualifying loan?
Non-qualified is more like a bank statement, self-employed that has to use bank statements versus tax returns.
Yeah,
something like that. That's what, and those programs are still out there. They're just their loan to values. How much you need to put down has changed. Now it's like 65% when it was all the way up to 90 in some cases.
Yeah.
And when all this happened in the market, they kind of, a lot of programs went to the sideline just to see what happens overall with the unemployment rate.
So you brought up overlays, and I think that's a great point. What is an overlay exactly? And as a consumer, as a buyer, who would I go to like, when would someone have an overlay versus someone else doesn't have an overlay in the same situation?
It's really risk driven. So if, for example, if I'm I don't want to get too far in the terminology of it, but if I'm a correspondent, that means I'm not loaning my own, I'm just loaning money on my line, then I'm going to sell it off to two different takeout investors.
Yep.
They may not have the overlay, but for my security, my safety, I may put an overlay on it. It may be a minimum trade lines open. Yes. It could be, when it's really 3, they may say we want 5. It could be anything from loan to value. It could be, instead of doing 80, they want us to 75, just to have a little cushion so they could have another opportunity to sell that loan in case there's any risk. So that's where you got to really know the lender. Are they a correspondent? Are they a direct lender? Which SunWest Low Rates is a direct lender. So that's the biggest thing about the overlays to really know, because that can impact your down payment. It could impact the credit score requirements. For example, credit scores. If a program could go down, and the easiest way to find out, the agency says we'll accept for a certain program a 620, and the overlay, they may say 640 or below.
Yep.
So
just tighter restrictions.
Yeah. So that's where you want to go direct, and not just an in-house overlay to protect themselves against something happening in the market.
Who's the big bank that came out with the 700 credit score a week ago? Was it Chase?
There was a few out there. Chase. Yeah, there's a few out there. Fairway, I believe, might have been one of them I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know all the different ones, and they do that just for safety precautions to kind of like slow down their volume.
Yeah.
Maybe, or to just wait out the market and see kind of the trends that's happening with everything going on with the virus. And just make sure they're not caught off guard with the volume.
You brought up a great point, and I'm kind of thinking this through as it comes into my mind. I had a lot of friends that read the story about, I think it was Chase, who upped their scores to 700. And then you've got other people who are at a 640, and then you've got people like you who are still at a 500. And you've got everything in between, right? And as a normal consumer, when you're only buying a home every 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever it is, you don't know the difference between any of this. You don't know that, you don't know what an overlay is. You don't know that there's differences between banks. You just don't know any of that. Yeah. So it's really interesting to me to think as a realtor, the responsibility that I have to know this one's at 700, this one's at 640, this one's at 5. What are the difference in values and in rates and the relationship, and how much do I trust that this person's going to get through? Because there's no way a buyer is going to know. No. 70% of realtors wouldn't know that.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. And that's what's scary, because it's so much misinformation. And the one thing I would stress more than anything is knowing to ask, right? Ask the questions.
Yep.
As far as getting beyond just the basics, right? Like I'll use, like we started with pre-approvals or pre-qualifications. Those things, even if someone says, "Oh, it's thoroughly reviewed," if it's not an underwriter signing off on that, credit, income, asset, it's not really worth the paper it's written on, to be honest with you, because then you may get down to the 11th hour and have it blow up in your face. And in this new world we're in with the 5-star customer experience is what we all write our brand on. That's just very risky. And I don't know what I would just say, it's relationship more than ever. And it's asking and going deeper into like, what exactly is this lender? Who are they? Do a little bit more research. Everyone out there has their pros and cons. So it's out there. You just got to research a little bit.
Yeah. So you're in a position where you're leading, you're managing, you're coaching. What is the message that you're sending your folks right now to continue doing business in this market?
Well, this is the way we look at it. There's the last 30 days, and now it's 30 days moving forward. There's the past, the present, and the future, right? What we've stressed to our teammates the most in this market, if anything, don't wait for certainty. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty out there. You just have to implement and take action. There will be change, right? The way open houses are performed, some are virtual now, some are open doors, lights are on. You kind of walk in with your gloves and your mask and just do a quick peek, and you walk out without touching anything. But that won't be the same in 30 days. So right now we're just saying, take massive action, but implement and then take action. And then you may have to change every other day with what's going on with the news and what's happening, but don't sit there and wait, right? That's the last thing. Most people become paralyzed and they don't do anything. And the other thing we really push right now with our team is relationships. More than ever, these things are our best friends now. I mean, we really need to work the phone and not just rely on autopilot with technology. And most people are at home now. They're just kind of like letting everything kind of coast. Get on the phone, strengthen your relationships, get to pick your realtor partners that you never went that deep with and go deeper, explain what's going on, and create certainty. Be the beacon of hope, I guess you can say, in the lending business for my side, to let the realtor partners and the customers know that they're going to be okay, because that's how you're going to influence, by having certainty with what your process is.
Yeah.
Right. And another thing is looking at your process. You're going to find out anything that was a crack is now a gaping hole. Things that weren't cracked are now cracked. I mean, everything's being challenged, right? So playbooks are being thrown out the window. It's time to kind of reinvent ourselves, go back, look at our game plan, and see where we need to help, lift it up, upgrade our performance. And where that is the main thing. But the biggest thing we're saying is, people say high tech. Well, right now it's high touch more than ever, even though you're not supposed to touch anybody, but contact, right? It's a contact sport. Get out there and make the talk, do the talk, and then just keep implementing. And just don't be discouraged by it may change, right? What happens today, you may have to change tomorrow just because of news or whatever comes down the pipeline.
So, you made a great point about, reassessing your game plan. I see a lot of people, I'm in a lot of real estate groups on Facebook. I would stress that is absolutely true. You need to be flexible and you need to move forward. But I would stress that second part, you need to move forward. I see so many people continuously talking about their game plan for weeks, and I'm not seeing them execute. You need to decide and execute, move forward, because you can have the best plan in the world, and my B+ plan is going to crush your non-executed A+ plan all day long. So I think that's a great point when you add execution to it. I'd add too, you talked about how phones are our biggest tool right now. It's the way to reach out, build relationships with people. I have found, I do a lot of cold calling. People don't like cold calls. I don't like cold calls either, man. But when I'm used to getting told to screw off, leave me alone, how did you get my number? And that's just part of my day, man. I got thick skin. I gotten used to it. But now people want to talk. They are bored. They want to talk. So it's a completely different market. It favors the people who are going to put in the work right now. And I don't care what anybody says. This is the time to fill the funnel, man. If nobody's doing anything, which it's not true, they are doing things. But if that's what you believe, cool. It's only going to last, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 3 months. I don't know. But at some point, we're going to be released from our cage. And he who has the fullest funnel is going to have the best year, man. You got to fill that funnel.
Well, I don't know what's, because your market sounds, I hear your updates. It's a great information. We're hearing a lot from realtors nationwide, every different market, that they're having some of the best production still, right?
Yes.
So people are still more hungry to buy than ever before. So, we've got, it's, like we said, if you strengthen your relationships in this market when everyone else was sitting on the sideline, it's just going to make you come out in full sprint, right?
Yeah.
Being prepared, not reacting, being more task driven with your day, because it's easy to get caught up in the first 30 days. There was a few weeks I think everyone kind of had a moment, right?
Yep.
But now we're starting to, I don't like to say the new normal. I know that's a big word out there. It's who knows what's going to be the new normal, but it's just action plans, execution, and consistent every day. Just do something that's going to help you move forward, like you said, in your business. But me, the most important thing is strengthening the relationships. I mean, right now more than ever, I don't know how most markets, people are starting to try to set it and forget it and get this. Like even with social media, that's how we met. You still have to actively, like I watch your posts, you see people that just, they wait, they're nervous, they're afraid, even doing video, right? I get it, but just take action and move forward and strengthen the relationship, because that's really what's going to help you progress in your business.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, whether it's a coaching, mentor, accountability partner, those are the things I see people lacking. I call it output versus equals input.
Yeah.
Know what those outputs are that you need to do on a daily basis and just do them. And then strengthen, like I said, the biggest part for us is understand what you're looking for in your relationships. Like if it's working with you, like I mentioned before we jumped on, it's either I'm stepping up, I'm elevating your value and bringing something to the table and make you do that much better, or you're doing it for me. One way or the other, we're elevating ourselves to be here. Not, it shouldn't be here and it shouldn't be there. It should be, I want that customer experience to see that if you've got a certain layer of customer experience that you want, it shouldn't change when it moves over to me.
Yes.
It needs to feel like we're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
Relationship is big. And depending on what you're doing, like a lot of our strategies is if you're not good on the phones, work with a lender that once it is good on the phone that can help you with your database. We call it database management. And if you have a number of, we have a lot of realtors who have hundreds of lists that they're just afraid to contact, or they don't contact as often. And we just look at that, like that's what our guys are trying to do. So if we can return 10% of them fully approved, ready to sign contract, what would that do for your year?
Yes.
Right? So those are the little value nuggets that you need to work together with. And right now, game plan, be strategizing. Like, and maybe when the lender doesn't want to do that, and that's fine. You just got to figure out the relationship and see where you can kind of use each other to lift your value up, to elevate the experience.
Yeah. And I think from a mindset standpoint, I personally always try to way over deliver on value versus anything I could ever ask for. So especially my local market, I'm always trying to pump people up on this podcast or with little Facebook posts, any way I can get their names out there. And it's fun. Like I find joy when they come back to me and they say, Joe, I really appreciate that. What am I supposed to do for you now? I'm like, dude, nothing. You're not supposed to do anything for me. You're supposed to just say thank you, enjoy it, and just have a great day, man. Yeah. And that feels awesome. And when you start to do that and you do it over and over and over, and that becomes how your relationships work with everybody, I'm telling you, for the greediest people watching this, that is how money naturally flows into your pocket. If all you're thinking about is money, the quickest way to get it is to forget about money and start thinking about how to over deliver to people.
Yeah, that's so true. Because like we were talking, not to sound mean, but we all know this business. The realtor loan officer relationship has been the weirdest relationship in the history of doing loans, because it's always what's in it for me. What are you going to do for me? They want your low hanging fruit. They've got either got their hand out. Not to sound bad, it all kind of can work together in some ways. But if you're not, like for example, you didn't really know what I did. I just pump value into the market.
Yep.
I do it. It's a challenge I do with my guys to kind of grow my following, coaching wise. It's always sharing it. I mean, I'm doing it anyways here. I'm just going to push it out over here. I'm not going to try to get anything for it. I'm not trying to win it. I mean, do I get a lot of loan officers? Do I get a lot of people come to me like and say, hey, now that they're starting to know that what I do, now they just see it, I'm more top of mind.
Yes.
But I didn't try to go out there for anything particular. Like I was telling you, we really don't. If we network, it's networking. There's no pressure. We don't. If people find a connection, they find a connection.
Yeah.
Trying to force a connection is always going to be awkward, and it never works out in the long run, anyways.
Yep.
So
you mentioned, I don't know if you specifically said it, but I assumed you were talking about video, right? You said, hey, people need to quit thinking about posting and just post. Do you think video is important in this market, and are you pushing your guys to do it?
Yeah, the way I look at it, I do push my people to do it. Some do it, some are afraid to death of it. It's just the nature of the game. We always joke around. I always say that video missed me by 15 years. I wish it was out 15 years ago and I was a little younger. But it's one of those things where, I always talk about you have your cold calling and you have your social networking. And they're two different boxes, right? Don't ever replace the cold calling because that's what this is all built on.
The fuel, baby.
Yeah, and I see yours, and you have we always talk about that. Your outreach is never, social media should be like your autopilot.
Yeah.
This should be the gas on the, the fire on the gas as you're calling. So we push it, but a lot of it's like you've got video for me should be more educational, right? Yeah. Add value, pump it out there and make it more engaging for your brand. Yep. Right. And then your calling should be more about your self-aware, kind of explain your why. A lot of people out there talking about their why, right? That got big. We focus a lot on our how, right? Yeah. How do we, and I will go in, not to go into rates or pricing, but how do we get our price so low? And I told you a little bit when we talked the other day, it's manufacturing costs. We have to be able to be efficient at what we do for a business to offer the price that we offer because the money has to come from somewhere. It's not just given. So someone may give a great rate, but are they efficient? And that's where we kind of use that. When we get on the phone with someone, I want to explain the how we do what we do, not just the why. Of course, we all have a why. We want to lead the paradigm shift in the mortgage industry with how we we do a loan and how we build relationships. But how do you do that, right? So get into the how on your video or your phone call. Talk about your why on your video, right? So that's a little bit what we do.
Are you a big Simon Sinek fan?
I saw him years ago when he rolled out that.
You did?
Yeah, I would say 11 years ago. Or so. And honestly,
the what, the how, and the why.
Yeah, it got us stuck through the golden circles. Yeah, we got stuck on it because we had a hard time. Really, we didn't want to, like you said, don't have to make it tangible. And we got stuck on it for about a good week because we wanted it to be everybody wants it to be. You need to start overthinking it.
Yep.
But we wanted it to be something that mattered, right? And we want to help family. We help. In a time like this, we're helping people, get into their homes or be a first-time home buyer or be their vacation home or their second home or their retirement home. Like you just said, not everyone does loans every day. And even I'm in the business, when I do a loan, I get nervous. Yeah. Because I just want to hear that you're okay. Everything's good. Yep. But until you hear that, you're like, did you see it? What'd you think of it? What else do you need? Right. So it's just, but that was a big one when that came out. It really shook us up pretty good years ago. And we've kind of led the way with that. He's obviously a great speaker.
Super intelligent. I love that guy. Yeah. So let's end with this. I really align with your brain, man. I love people's brains who've got big thoughts in their head. And you absolutely do. You're in a position of leadership. And I was in the Army for 10 years, so it has always intrigued me what it takes to be a good leader and actually get people to do, because that's what I think a good leader is you get the people underneath you to do what it is you need to get them to do to be successful. But there's tips, there's tricks, there's things that you need to entice them with, ways you need to pump them up, ways to bring them along to get them there. So it's not just manipulation, it's real. Yeah. What one leadership tip would you share with us that would make us better leaders?
To be a servant leader. Actually, to be a servant leader. Because, people don't want to be told what to do all day. They don't want to boss. Yeah. They technically work. We work for them at the end of the day. I mean, I'm pretty proud. Our company just got top 100 mortgage companies to work for. We just won 50 best places to work. When we, came in, people will trust you over time based on your actions, right? And
Yep.
just barking at people, you got to have open dialogue, you have visibility, you have accountability. But the biggest thing for a leader, I tell every one of my guys, they're a leader. Every one of my folks, guys or girls, you're a leader out there. And you're not working for, I'll just use low rates, you are low rates.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, it's being a servant leader. And some people wonder what that is, and it's really just serve, right? We're here to serve. We're not here to push our way through this. We're here to serve.
I love that, man. In the Army, I think that's probably, I know that's where I learned it, because I had a real estate team before when I was in my 20s before the Army. And I thought, like every other crappy real estate team leader, how do I suck money out of this person so I make money? That was it. That's where it ended. Like, how do I entice this person to stay for 12 months so I can suck money out of every deal? And in the Army, you learn that you can yell at people with your rank, and that will get them to do the now thing. But as soon as you walk away, they're going to be pissed and they're not going to do anything you want them to do. So I would always, once I got a little bit higher up and I got brand new sergeants, I'd always say, listen, I know what you're going to do and I'll let you do it. You're going to yell at these guys, make them do push-ups, and that's going to feel good. You're going to feel powerful. But I'm telling you, they're going to be pissed. They're not going to like you, and you're going to have a rough go. Yeah. So go learn. But I'm telling you, eventually we're going to have the talk about how you need to actually invest all of your time, all of your effort, all of your heart, all of your passion. You need to ask them engaging, like real questions about them. Because some of them, some of them want, I mean, let's take lending, for example. Some of your guys probably want money. Some of your guys want time off. Some of them want prestige. They want the position. They all want different things. But if you as a leader aren't looking at them as individuals and asking them those questions, you'll never know what it is their carrot is, No. And I think that being a servant leader is really just completely giving of yourself to find out how you can best, I mean, serve is probably the best word, how you can serve them and help them and motivate them and just get it for them.
Yeah. Once you set the direction and you have a shared purpose, then your job is just you serve, right? You serve. That's the easiest way I can explain it. That's what we live by.
I love that, man. Well, hey, listen, again, it's an absolute pleasure. I've been watching you it's probably been close to a year now. And like I said, we align in thought, and that is pretty dang awesome. It's great to surround yourself. They always say, right? You are who you surround yourself with. So I think the same is true when you talk about social media. A lot of us are there for entertainment purposes, and it's kind of how you unwind at the end of the day. But even there, I try to have discipline and really, I'm not hanging out on Instagram with NBA players. Nothing against the NBA, but they're focused on like money and ladies and cars, and I'm focused on being amazing at my business and providing as much as I can for people. So to surround myself with people like you, man, you fire me up, and I appreciate it.
You're doing a great job, and you have me powered up too. You had the fire up, I was power up. We just kind of
baby, with our powers combined. All right, well, thank you much, everybody who's watching here. If you want Eddie's information, you can go up there in the comments. I've got his website and all that good stuff. Eddie, I really appreciate it. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you around, my man.
Appreciate it.
All right, take care, brother.